Hello friends, welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you today. So today I thought we would create this fun little Halloween card using the primitive candy corn die set. So I just recently purchased this one and I just love it. There's just so much you can do with it. So as we all know, candy corn is not just for Halloween anymore. They often make candy corn in colors for just about every holiday. I've even seen them for Valentine's Day. So certainly if you want your card to have a candy theme, then this die set will come in handy. But some of the other elements that I really love are these buttons. I've seen these buttons used on, totally separate cards that have nothing to do with candy. And these little stitched scars and sewing stitches. I've seen those used like with zombies and just totally different things. So this die set is extremely versatile and can be used in lots of different ways. All right, the other one that we're going to pair with this candy corn die set is our Doggy Halloween set. So this one had this little pumpkin one, which I really liked to go along with the colors in our candy corn. But I also wanted this little bucket of candy that's with our pirate dog. So I'll show you how I got that piece. I'm going to be using the sweet word die, and I'm just using these two. I liked this one, but I thought it covered up a bit too much of my colors in the candy corn, so I ended up just using these two. I'm using the Halloween word from our Happy Sayings. This is a list of words that goes with the Happy word die, and I'm using the Halloween. Now, this is a relatively new set that came out, and if you have never seen this one, you're going to love it. It's called the Mix and Mingle ABC dies, and if you look closely, let's see, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 letter A's. So it gives you lots of different ways. Here you've got 3 C's, you've got multiple B's. So every letter has multiple fonts of the die, but they can be used in they're all the same, close to the same size, so they can be used interchangeably. And you can see on my card for the H and the A, I used the one with the big swoop. But for the other letters, I chose different ones. So, I could have done it where the V has the big swoop, or, you could do them all where none of them have that and they're just straight. So it just gives you lots of versatility in making your sentiments. So I just love this set. And if you have not seen this one, it's a great one to pick up. So, okay, to start our card, I'm going to set these things aside here. The first thing we're going to do, let's put together our base piece of our candy corn, and I'll show you how I did that. Now, on this card, I should tell you, we're going to change things up just a little bit. So I have made a background piece, our candy corn die set. I didn't use it on this one, but I am going to use it on today's card. So on this card, I made a black outline to my card, but I thought my candy corn gets a little bit lost on the colorful base, so I wanted it to have an outline. So I did cut out that piece. And I went ahead and cut out the body of our candy corn in the 3 colors, and I'm going to show you how I like to put this together. So I like to turn it over and do it from the back side. And you can really just see these pieces fit together like a puzzle when you can do it from both sides, but there's something about the back side that I really think just makes it a little easier. And I'm going to put foam on the back side of all these pieces. And I am using black foam today, so I'm just going to hold those together and go ahead and add my black foam. There we go. Now I'm just going to slide the yellow piece right up in there, holding them real close together while I add my next piece of foam. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more. And, if you didn't want your piece foamed, you would just do this maybe with reversible tape or even with glue. But, having something, you could have a piece of paper and glue it on to hold that together. There we we go. I think I'm going to take this little piece and just put right here because I want to hold that edge together. But there you go. So now my candy corn, and they're not going to shift and move and that kind of thing on me. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this to my background that I've made. So I hope everybody's having a great day today and enjoying the fall weather. I love this time of year in Texas where it starts to cool off a little bit. Good morning, Shauna. How are you? I just got back from a trip to New England with my mom. And oh, the trees were turning, and you know, I just love seeing the fall colors. In Texas, we don't get a lot of that, so it's great. Now, I should point out that this is one of the primitive sets, so it goes with, you know, it's got some elements to it that make it kind of that primitive, and one of that is the kind of uneven outline. So that's just kind of a character trait of the primitive set. So, okay, the next thing we're going to do now that we have our candy cane made, let's go ahead and ink blend our background. So today I am going to be using some oxide inks, and the first time I did this card, I just used these three, the Twisted Citron, the Mustard Seed, and the Carved Pumpkin. But this time I'm going to bring in just a little bit of Mowed Lawn because I thought the base of this card could use just a little more depth, like some darkness. So we're going to put in just a little bit of Mowed Lawn. Hello, Cindy. I'm glad you're here. Hello. From Belgium. I remember that. I've seen you here before, and it's great to have you. All right, we're going to start with the Twisted Citron. Well, that's a tongue twister today. And we're just going to bring that up about a little more than a third, but keeping a little bit lighter towards the top edge and darker at the bottom. You see how I'm kind of letting that just be lighter up in here. And now before I get rid of my green brush, just going to bring in a little bit of this just to kind of add some depth down here. And I should let you know that this piece I trimmed 1/4 inch off, so it is 5 1/4 by 4. So you can always add, but you can't take it away. So there we go. I think that'll give us a good base there. All right, so now I'm going to move into the yellow. I didn't really think the orange would blend too well with my Twisted Citron, so I'm putting the yellow in the middle and blending that in. Now my candy corn is going to be covering up a lot of this middle, so more putting my efforts toward the edges. And again, just letting that be a little lighter there on the top so I can blend my orange in. Just gonna marry my greens together down there, or the green and yellow. And now let's move into our carved pumpkin. Now for my carved pumpkin, I'm going to tap off and try to go a little bit lighter. I thought I got a little dark on my last one. Often when I make a card the first time, I change things up the second time. I see things that, oh, I think I would like it a little bit better this way or that way. Do you do that too? Okay. Just add a little more right to the edges. Add a little more yellow there to blend them together, and then I think I'll be good. All right, that's going to be our background. And before before I go any further, I do have just a napkin, and I didn't do this on the first one, but I wanted to add a little more interest back here, so I am going to spritz this with a little water and then dab some of that water off. So we'll do that. All right. Just to add some splotches. I don't know if you can see them very well, but it did add a little more texture to that background. And the last thing I'm going to do is we're going to spritz this with a little bit of our black soot stain from Ranger ink. So hopefully I can do this without making a mess. Let me grab my splatter box. You change your mind all of the time too. Me too. I always like to change it up. For me, it's hard to do the same thing twice. So I've got my block here, and I'm going to add a little more water to this. And we'll see if we can, there we go. Most of my black splotches I want to be towards the edges. There we go. Oh, we got a lot that time. I'm trying, every time I do this, I don't know if you can see my desk, but I always get it all over my desk. So I'm going to take this wet wipe real quick and clean up my mess. And hopefully, we did a pretty good job that time, not so bad. When I did it earlier, I had to wipe down my cell phone because I like black splattered my cell phone. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and let that set aside and dry. And we're going to move on to the next part. So we've got two parts already ready to go. Okay, so I have gone ahead and stamped and colored one of our dogs. But for the other one, I wanted this little candy basket. So I just ignored his little hand and just colored it orange. And we're going to tuck it behind our other pumpkin. So I'm just going to cut that out with a white outline. And if you have the dies for this set, you can go ahead and die cut it and then just trim off this part of it. I'm kind of a firm believer, if a stamp or something, if it just has a little bit, go ahead and make it work for you. Because I definitely wanted him to have a candy bucket to go with our dog, so we're just going to do it just like that. So now we have our candy. Alright, so for the next part, let's go ahead and put our sweet word together. And then I'll show you one of the other things that I decided to change up on this card from the first one. So when I was in New England, one of the things that we did, we went to a place that made, oh, pretty colors, thank you, Cindy. We went to a place that made maple syrup. And I always thought that I didn't like maple syrup, but this was like 100% pure maple syrup, and it was so good. I realized I do like maple syrup. Alright, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to sort these buttons out. I've cut several buttons. And you may be looking at him thinking, how did she get those colors on the buttons? Well, grab it. I had a scrap of patterned paper, and so I just lined up the die so that it was on a yellow or on a piece, or if I wanted it dark. So all of my little decorative pieces I actually cut out of a piece of patterned paper. So that's just something you can do to kind of, I knew I wanted these colors and little various colors to kind of bring out my green color. This was the perfect piece of paper for it. Alright, another thing I decided to change up, my background piece on my little patch, I did it in green the first time, but I decided the background piece, I want that to be in black this time. So I'm going to do it more like that. And I've also brought in a little bit of twine and tied myself a little bow. Alright, so here are my letters. And we're going to glue these. Now the first time I thought I wanted it kind of hanging off, but this time I want my word have to be completely on the white part of my candy corn. So I'm going to lay that all out before we go any further. And I think I can get that all on there. Oops. And then the last one is our E. So I'm just going to go ahead and put glue on this E, and we're going to attach it kind of backwards. Okay. Whoops. Now, because these letters are, they're different sizes and different shapes, you kind of have some wiggle room in choosing which ones you want to use. When you have a smaller space like this, or if you want it to be bigger, you can use all the swirls and stretch it out. It just gives you a lot of flexibility in what you choose to do there. So I have found I really like this alphabet set. Oops. And I am to some extent trying to keep it straight, but this, candy corn, it's very rounded. So as long as I keep it straight, I can attach it to my background, at whatever angle that I want to. So I think we have a little bit of wiggle room there. Excuse me if my head's up over it. There we go. I like that much better. You can kind of see the difference there. I like the whole word being on there. All right, so the next one, we're going to add this A. And I'm going to kind of put that up in here. There we go. And now my word sweet is going to just kind of marry in there so that you can see. And then we'll put Halloween down here. And I think this time I'm going to add a little bit of foam to the back of my sweet word. I didn't do that the first time, but I do want to pop up my animals here, my dog, so that will put them on the same level. And I decided I wanted to do that. So does anybody have anything fun planned for Halloween? I wouldn't say we celebrate Halloween, but we do get together with friends every year, sit out on their front porch, hand out candy, and we definitely do have a good time just hanging out with our friends. And there we go. All right, I think that's going to work well. Go ahead and put that chunk on the back of the dog. Now when we get done with this one, we'll hold it side by side with the other one and decide if we like the changes. Excuse my head again. There we go. I think that's pretty good. All right. Now I do have this last piece from the, my brain just went blank. The sentiment strips, the die that goes with the sentiment strips. I went ahead and I chose out the centerpiece from one of those, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the Halloween word. All right, just going to use my scissors to trim that down. And now I'm going to put that right below it. And I'm trying to decide, do we want that popped up too? I think we want it down. I think the sweet is the only part that I'm going to have popped up. We're going to go ahead and just glue this one down. And just trying to kind of keep it as somewhat straight there. Now when I attach it to this part, I'm going to try to just keep that straight that way, you know, and not worry about the angle of my candy as much as worrying about getting that straight. So right now I'm thinking what I want to do is put it on a white outline, but I may change my mind and go with black. Okay, let me grab my black paper and we'll see. And then we'll finish decorating, adding our decorative pieces, and call this one a wrap. So let's see here. Let's go ahead, cut this down. All right, Shauna and Cindy, what do you think? Oh, you think you like it on black best? I'm thinking the black. Yeah, it just really pops more on the black. I wasn't sure about having the black outline, if that would be too much black, but as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yeah, that needs black. So, you know when you know, right? You just sit and pass out candy. We kind of do that too, but we have like 5 or 6 families sitting together. And my neighborhood that I live in is kind of out in the country, and we don't really get any trick-or-treaters. So my friend who lives in a much bigger neighborhood than me, they get hundreds of trick-or-treaters. So it's really fun to just sit out on her front porch and enjoy all the kids coming by. Now before I put this on, I'm going to just kind of set it here and decide where we want our little dog. I think about right here. Okay. Just going to go ahead and sit him about right there. And now the other little pumpkin. I'm going to set that right beside him. And I want to tuck it back under him so that that extra little paw doesn't really show. I'm just going to go ahead and attach everything that needs to go on my candy corn. I keep calling it a candy cane. I guess my mind is ready for Christmas already. There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now we just need to attach it here and then add our little decorative pieces. Just kind of lining up the dog down there on the bottom. That piece we won't be using. I'm going to go ahead and I thought the overall design needed a little bit of green up on the top, so that is why I kind of put these buttons up here on this right hand side. I thought it just, you know, added a little variation up in there and brought that green up at the top, gave it a little more balanced look. So I'm just going to do 3 buttons, and this button I'm going to cut off a little piece of the green here, and I'm going to put it behind the holes of my button, just so they're green instead of, oops, there we go. Made a little too big, just trim that off. Okay, so I don't want to have to feed my thread through there, so I just added some green behind it so that it would be, you know, the green color, but we're not going to actually put the thread behind there. Hopefully that makes sense. Just wanted to kind of give the illusion of the thread in there because my twine was a little bit too thick to go with my, sorry, that's too thick. I don't like it. I'm going to get a little bit thinner foam to go under that. There we go. It's white, but it'll be a better size. Add that right there. And then to attach my ribbon, I'm just going to add a little glue and pop that right down in my glue. And I'm just going to hold that for a moment. All right, set that aside. Now the last thing I'm going to do on my card base on the inside, I'm going to stamp the saying, less tricks, more treats. And that's my recipe for Happy Halloween is less tricks and more treats. So I'm all about the candy, especially candy corn. I love candy corn. I don't buy it for all the holidays, but at Halloween time, I do allow myself some because it's just tradition. A piece of foam on me. He doesn't want to come off. All right. Oh, it's so thick. My card base is really thick. All right. Now I want to hold the two cards, the first one and the second one side by side, and we'll see if you like the changes as much as I do. Oops. Then another square. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. What do you think? Do you have a favorite? I'm really liking the changes. I think the sweet being raised did a lot. I think having the orange at the top being a little paler did a lot. Having a little bit darker green at the bottom. And then adding the black outlines, I think all just really took this card to the next level. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So, okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like any of these products, they're always listed right below the video. And I would love it if you decide to get any of these, if you use my links. So thank you so much. All right, Cindy and Shauna, thanks so much for joining me. And I look forward to crafting with you again next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.